Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the trip. I am DWTT Gary. As you can see, my title says "Uncomfortable Performance." Will it end? I don't know. Tony, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, except for headache I've had all day, but not too bad.
Yeah. So, what? How many days do you? Is it often that you have a day where you don't have a symptom?
I mean, it's pretty much every morning because of the
Mm,
psoriatic arthritis or
mm.
fibromyalgia or like screwed up shoulders. It's like
You got something
almost
going on.
always some type of pain.
Uh, I hear that. All right. So yeah, Spencer is. I think Spencer will be with us soon. I see his. He has joined the back room, but he hasn't shown himself. So I assume that means he's not ready. So with that, we're gonna get into it. I know Spencer probably. I don't think he's been on any shows. He hasn't. Haven't heard any. How he feels about the game, and we'll get into that. But we'll say hello to the people. I see some people have joined us. First off, got Riddy in the house. Welcome to the show, Riddy. It's been. I don't know. I don't think I feel like I've seen you. I've seen you a little bit, but not consistently. So that I'll say that. But I think I saw you on Ryan's channel. But welcome to the show, and and also Rosie has joined us. Welcome to the show, Rosie. And yeah, that's right, everybody. Make sure you hit those likes, subscribe, and all of that, and we'll get into it. So, oh, well, before I get going, he said done with work till New Year now. I'm up watching. Ah, okay, is that what it is? That's nice. I got 3 more days of work, and then I'm done for the year. So yeah, so I'm up
One thing
work.
I always ask you, I know Rudy likes cricket, but does your dad still follow cricket or
My dad,
yeah?
I not as much as he usually did. I think he realizes how much how some people it affects them negatively watching games because of the stress
Yeah.
levels and stuff like that, the pressure and all of that. So he just assumed not watch it or watch the highlights after the fact. So I don't think I think I took him to a game that might have been one of the first games we've been to in a while when we went and saw the women play. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think he watches it regularly. I think he used to do that when he was younger, because he played cricket and he was as I said before, he was good friends with Clive Lloyd, who would basically be like in my dad's eyes, anyways, the Michael Jordan of cricket, or at least at that level, really popular player, really good player. So there you go.
It,
Um,
it, it's still
Maybe not the Michael
surprising.
Jordan, but he would have been a popular player. Let's just say that.
It's still surprising to me, like the Indian whatever league of cricket are the second highest average pay of players
You
behind
see how
the
many people they have watching the sport, right? I mean, when you get like, I don't know how big those stadiums are and how much people watch it across the world, but yeah, people. I mean, in fact, Rudy's watching it. It is just, it's a game that everybody's into. Got BX Gunner in the house. Welcome to the show, BX. I don't know what this means. I don't know, rose. So that means, does that mean you're drinking? Uh, yes,
I think
everybody's
that's
saying
just
hello,
his
hello. Got Anders in the house. Welcome to the show, Anders.
I
Yeah,
think that's just his nickname for Rosie.
yeah, okay, okay. Spencer's having some technical difficulties. He's said he's pixelated. So let's see who he comes back. Yes, we've got Lonzo in the house. Welcome to the show. The Rangers must have lost in hockey, huh? Mm. And Rosie talking about the Rangers. She's talking about the Texas Rangers, right? The baseball team, right? She's talking about the baseball team. He left everything on the pitch. All right. It looks like we're going to have a full house tonight. So, got also, not last but not least, before I continue on, you've got, he's gone. He was there and then he was gone. I don't know what happened there, but I didn't do it. Miss Melina, welcome to the show. Rangers
I'm just
FC.
I'm
Uh,
just glad that
I
I'm
know.
glad that
I was
they
just kidding. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm glad today I'm not on my side like kept happening
We
yesterday.
need to work on that. We can't be having you all tipsy turvy. Keep that thing up, straight up and down. All right, let's see if it works now. Should I let you in, Spencer? I think he doesn't know what's going on. Let's see if the sound even sounds right. But welcome to the show. We got Spencer in the house. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I've got to probably reset Edge for some reason. It's all pixelated, zoomed in. I'm on Firefox now. Whatever. I'll.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm good. I'm good.
Cool.
So
Welcome to the show. So yeah, we were just kind of going through the intros, and we haven't even talked anything sports related. We're 6 minutes in, but that's probably a good thing. There's not nothing good has happened since the game, but we'll go into it. And I don't know. I don't know
Come on, Gary. I brought up cricket. That's sports.
Yeah, you did bring up. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did talk sports. We didn't talk football. All right. So Arsenal nil, Everton nil, and Arsenal 2 weeks in a row now, 2 weekends in a row now, wasn't able to cut into the Liverpool lead as much as they should have. They should have at least cut into it and be sitting at level with Chelsea. But the problems that we've seen in the past of rear their ugly heads again. We can't score. We can't score. We've got the defense, but we can't score. And I've said it before. I'd rather us win 3-2 than struggle to win 1-0 and then come out with these 1-1 draws and these 0-0 draws because we can't score, but we can keep everybody out. I mean, I think that's how Chelsea's able to win. They were able to score 2 and 3 goals, and the other team, if they can't keep up, they get left behind. And we saw that in the Brentford match. Brentford had many opportunities to tie that thing up and even take a lead if they wanted to late in that game. And that's the defense. But the offense on the Chelsea side was able to get multiple goals so there you go. But Arsenal. Yeah. It's the same problems we've had before. I don't know. I'll let you guys talk, but we need to figure out how to score, and I think we just need to put Nweri in the game and let him start. I think before Arteta changes his ways and corrupts him, I need to see him out there. I think at some point he's going to fit into Arteta's model, and that will mean he won't shoot. He'll pass first, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So we'll see how to Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom is joining us. He said, yeah, Mr. Tom should not. Yeah, that is a problem. He had a little bit too much. We've got Steven in the house. Welcome to the show, Steven. Arsenal Misfit is in the house. Chris Nix is in the house. Is he happy today? I guess he's happy today, right? I guess he's happy today. Like a 0-0 draw going into this thing. And oh wait, no, was it a draw? It was a draw, right? Today's game. Do you guys see it? I think I was watching it. Yeah, I was watching it.
40 minutes of it. I didn't really.
Yeah, I was watching it. Oh, you know what? Bournemouth needed to win by 3 goals to what you call it? To be tied to pass City. They couldn't do it. That's right. It was 1-1. Yeah, Tom got drunk off Pepsi. Yep. So I'll let you go, Tony. I think I just been mumbling. So tell me about your thoughts changed much on this game?
To me, it's a mix between Arteta can't figure out the midfield. It's a mix of that he doesn't play the strikers in the striker position. You look up there, you don't see Ty where Ty should be. Still not sure if Ty technically to me is a striker or not. To me he's more of a forward. But to me it's the same old problems of Arteta's coaching methods. I did catch one stat yesterday that long balls, Arsenal are 16th. You really don't see that. Partey does it a few times. Gabriel does it a few times. But we really don't try to find those players in space and just throw the ball into space. I mean, you should be able to do that with Martinelli. I mean, he should be able to time his runs where he could find that ball, make it easier on us. But it's, to me, since Arteta's been here, we've struggled against Everton. I think within his first 18 months, we had lost more to Everton than the entire time Arteta played at Everton. They've become one of our bogey teams. I kind of wish they got relegated because they should have got dropped enough points at one time instead of, oh, here's 10 points at one time, here's another 10 points. They to me, it seems like they should have did it all in together, but it just wasn't a good enough performance yesterday. We have to figure out Rice. And I have to figure out Rice depending how long his injury's for. But all in all, not good enough. And to me, it's the same old story of reasons why. Not shooting enough, not being accurate enough, everything else that entails.
I hear you. I hear you, Spencer. You know what? Let me just say hi to Nick Faldy has joined us. Nick, I saw your question. We'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, go ahead, Spencer. Talk to me.
Not much, in my opinion, has changed since Saturday. I mean, I'm mentally I'm on to Wednesday. I literally have moved on from Saturday. Looking forward to the EFL Cup. Hey, let's find a way to get to the semifinals of that, and just keep progressing. I mean, we kind of talked about it on Saturday, and when I think I said at halftime, if you're gonna add Nowari, you're gonna keep Odegaard on there. You don't replace strength with strength; you add on top of strength. And it was probably some of the worst subs that I've seen as far as trying to create a tactical advantage, especially when you know a team's not going to come for you. It was just poor all around. It was almost kind of like, hey, I know we need to try to go get this goal, but I also don't want to lose it. And there was just nothing from Everton that was really threatening. I felt like he was more aggressive in the Fulham game. If you really want to talk about it, Fulham were more dangerous than Everton were. But it's really unfortunate because this league this year, nobody really wants to win it. If you look at it, you're still within 6-point striking distance. Granted, they've got a game in hand, Liverpool, but it's just every time you turn around, City's on probably one of their worst runs in a while. And I don't know, man. Liverpool now dropped 4 points in 2 games, right? Who knows how this league's going to turn out? But I moved on to Wednesday. Just, you bring in Sterling. I mean, Sam talked. Well, we can go further into it, but you bring in Sterling and you don't play him. Jesus didn't really offer anything. I think you probably should have hooked Martinelli earlier, if I'm honest, and probably bring on Trossard. About when you made that 60th minute sub, that's when Trossard should have came on. And I still keep thinking, the more I think about it, this inverted left back that we were on, how much that's hurting Martinelli's game. Because he doesn't have the same coverage that Saka gets the benefit on the right side. So, I don't know. These guys got it. It's Everton. We struggle against low block teams. This is exactly 100% Arsenal's problem. Plan A is play with the width. Plan B is set pieces, and Plan C is, we never make attacks in the middle. If you watch Liverpool's game, they don't have issues, making runs in the middle of the field. And for some reason, you take our best player, Saka, and you just isolate him to that one corner. And I just put him in the middle, put him in the left, do something different. So he has to make the team think about something different as opposed to, let me put 2 or 3 guys over here and just isolate you. So go get him Wednesday. That's all I can say at this point. But I see Chris's comment there. I don't think anybody hits 90 points this year. I just don't. So
Yeah. Well, so far, I mean, anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like Liverpool is as good as the run they've been on. They did lose, right? They're not undefeated. They did
Yeah.
lose, and they have been struggling of late. And Kanate, I think that has changed things up for them a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and Salah isn't going to be there every game, and injuries and suspensions that it's changed things for them as well, right? Not as big as ours, but it's happened, right? They got Kanate out now. They've got they had Robinson out now for a
Yep.
game, right? Or so they're gonna have to deal with that. Will they get knocked out this midweek? I doubt it, but they're gonna deal
You
with
just never
deal with
know.
that. Somebody brought up a stat, and I thought it was interesting. It was a ground duels stat. Basically, we are terrible on the ground duels, and for me, that's an effort thing. If there's a 50-50 ball in the air, 50-50 ball on the ground, we always second best to it. Even if we're the ones that gave it up, we don't make the effort to get that ball. Like and it's almost like the way we play our football. We'll err on the side of, you know what, I'll protect my goal. I won't try to get a goal. You know what I mean? Like if there's an opportunity to if I get my foot in front of this defender or this opponent and I can get my foot on this ball, I can be on the attack. And we're err on the side of if I do it and I miss, then they're on the counter. And I kind of feel like we need to take more risks. Our defense is solid enough that especially the guys sometimes in the midfield, definitely up top, can take more risks. Whenever we put pressure on people, they kick the ball right to us. So, you'll see that. I know we can't do that all game, but that's something we need to get better, do a lot more of, because that's the only way I think we're going to be able to, we're able to get we've seen what happens when we get pressure on the, on the front, on the goalkeeper and the back line. All right. We've seen that happen in was it the Fulham match? Right. I think it was a Fulham match, or no, not Fulham. Fulham, we didn't win that one, but the other match where we scored 3 goals, I think we need to change things up a little bit, change things up a lot. I think, as you said, maybe Arteta was listening to me. Maybe he thought when I said that, you know what, if it's not working with Erdogan, maybe you bring in Nweri and you take out Erdogan, and he probably thought I meant that is probably okay to do, as opposed to what everybody else in the world wants, which is how about they play together? How about we take 2 of our better attacking midfielders that we can think of right now based on form, but based on what we've seen, and see if we can, put more pressure on our opponents. As I said, I think if you have Rice sitting behind them with our back line and our goalkeeper, that's 6 players that you're going to have to beat. I don't think that's going to happen much when Erdogan or Nweri have the ball at their feet. Saka definitely. Whatever we have on the left, that's the risk, right? Otherwise, I think we've got 3 players that I believe are solid with the ball at their feet. They don't really I haven't seen them turn over the ball consistently. Where I feel like it's a threat, right? And like you said, Saka, when Erdogan was out, was trapped on the left, and if we never got the ball to the left, we got nothing in most games. So Arteta doesn't get that. You know what? Maybe I should make a change. Maybe I should move Saka more towards the inside. And in the last game, many people called for, why don't we just put Saka on the other side and see how they like that? Since they feel that they can put a lot of pressure on us on the right side. Switch it, put him on the left, and see how that works. I think put Saka wherever and find the next best player. For me, that's Nweri. Let Nweri play on whatever side he's more comfortable on, and play Saka on the other side if that's what you wanted to do. Because I think the Trossard coming off the bench is the answer, and I think the Martinelli starting isn't an answer right now. I think he needs to get a little bit of pressure put on him. Like, you can't keep doing what you're doing. You're wasting my minute. You're wasting the minutes.
I think Trossard needs a start.
Well, hold on. Before I was about to bring that up, because Gary, you bring up a lot of times that Trossard's better off the bench.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to start Martinelli, who would you call for? I know who I'm calling for.
I said Nweri. That's why I said you put Nweri on.
Winger?
You put him on whatever side he's comfortable on. You say, Saka, do what good players do. Do what the best player in our team does. They just cover. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we keep going back to the same well, and guess what? There's no water in it anymore.
I mean, I would almost even think at this point, if you don't do the Nweri thing, which I do like, that's a really good shout. I'll come back to that in a second, but you could also potentially Jesus on the right side, Saka on the left, and then make them think what's up and say, okay, you're going to have to, and then just have those two just flip flop the whole game because you're already making people move around. But the Nweri one's interesting. I know a buddy of mine was talking about the statistics of starting kids under 18 in the Premier League isn't good, but that shouldn't be a detractor.
We say that, but then we had to do that.
I just said it's not a detractor.
No, we did that with Saka.
Well, that's my point. You can't let statistics dictate what you're going to do all the time. Yeah. Okay, 17-year-olds normally fail when they come to the Premier League. You put 17-year-olds against 29-year-olds, there's going to be a difference when it comes to the physicality of it. But if you're making them play on a wing position where physicality isn't much as needed and it's more about pace and speed, then why not take that gamble? Yeah. I don't think it can hurt at this point. My concern, the goals are obviously a massive concern, but the fullback position, I'm looking at this right now. I know Miles Lewis-Skelly didn't cost us anything other than wages, but if he can show that he's available, I'm sorry, when you come back, Calafiore, you're going to sit until Miles Skelly gives me a reason why he shouldn't play. That's the ruthlessness you got to go. You don't worry about what you paid for a guy. Just play the hot hand. And right now, he played really well on Saturday. He was a bright point, in my opinion.
I feel you're going to get the same from Nweri. And you know what? I think it comes with confidence from the manager. Sorry to interrupt there.
But it pegs on the point I'm bringing up. This is the thing we don't know, because I'm not going to really go down this route. We don't know what pressure he's currently under from management. We don't know that. We know what the fan base wants. Oh, the YouTube hots were really going crazy on Saturday, the AFTVs and all that stuff, the hot takes and emotional reactions. But we don't know what the pressure is. But that's my thing. Like, if there's no pressure, let's be realistic here. If there's no way he gets fired this year, why not go start Nweri and Miles Lewis-Skelly? Flirt with it. Figure out what works. If Martinelli's not going to take it, if he's not going to take the opportunity by the back of the neck and make it his, somebody else come in and it's your opportunity to make a shot. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, and this one right. The subs for that one didn't make any sense to me. We talked about the Partey sub, right? Bringing him on and bringing it as a right back. Like, we need more bodies in the middle of the pitch and up top. What are we? There wasn't even a tactical change as far as formation on Saturday either. It was just kind of strength for strength subs. I don't know. He cocked it up. That's what I'm going to say. He cocked it up and messed it up. That's what happened. Yeah. Saturday was a complete. I don't know, man. When a team's not threatening you and that's what you do.
I hear you. Scooby-Doo, welcome to the show. Say hello to you. Tony, I don't know if you could remember what you were going to say.
Yeah, I've got several things. One thing was kind of you and Spencer, one of you doing the long balls kind of work with the team set up in the low block because you can just run into space and try that instead of just trying to pass the ball slowly, methodically up the pitch.
I don't
Because I was,
remember. Yeah, I don't know how that works because I feel like we would turn the ball over a lot more. Because for me, I don't feel like I think air duels we are terrible at. Like that's why we keep talking about we need that striker, that hold up player, right? I don't think we have that guy, right? A long ball where you've got Martinelli with tons of space in front of him, yeah. But we have to move the ball around a bit to get into those positions. I don't think from our back line we can get into that position. I get it, but I don't. I hear what you're saying, but I don't feel like we do that well. I don't think we've ever done that well. So for me, I would say I don't think it's an option that gets us where we want to go.
I think Gabrielle's pretty good about it, but you mentioned aerials earlier, and you just mentioned it now, and it's surprising that 6'4" how poor Saliba is at headers or duels. I mean,
Yeah,
he
but
hardly ever wins aerial duels.
yeah, but how many headers have we given up as a defense? How many times has that affected? Like, I get what you're saying, but is it really that poor? Like, what balls coming into our box are we threatened by?
Yeah, but it's more higher up the pitch when he's up there than it is.
So you're talking about on set pieces, because that's the only time he's really up there that I think affects us as much.
No, I'm talking about when the other team has a goal kick and it's getting kicked a little over about 2/3 of the way up the pitch, then Saliba's up there, and that's what duels that he loses.
Yeah, I don't think those hurt us. Me, I don't think we get hurt by those. I don't think. I mean, for me, I don't know about you, Spencer, but I don't think those things are hurt. I don't personally on the defensive side. I don't think much is really threatening us at all this season. I don't think anybody has threatened us defensively enough for me to go. Defense is our problem. We need to do a little bit better on our defensive
I think
setup or anything like that. Like we are not getting blown out of games. People are not threatening us. Like it's it's few and far between when you go if we don't if we don't do something they're going to score soon. That doesn't necessarily happen much.
most of them we give up is when we get our fullbacks too high and everybody ends up out of position. That's what happens. I think the fullbacks have to be fullbacks, not wingbacks or one inverted guy. That's to me, it's still a wingback. It doesn't matter which side. If you're 5 foot from the line or 10 foot away.
I want to talk with you, but I don't think our defense is a problem. I don't like I said. I don't think there's much. I think there's less on the defensive side that worries me. So where I'm concerned, we've lost the last 2 seasons because we couldn't score. Right when we were going for last 3 seasons actually, when we were going for top 4, we couldn't score against was it Southampton or whatever it was, and we lost, and they won in a header. All right, but that's one goal. We needed to score as well, and we couldn't do that. Like those 4 games going into the end of the season, we needed to win one of them to secure a top 4 spot, and we couldn't do it because we couldn't score. Our defense was fine. We're not like having to score 3 goals to win games. AFC always welcome to the show. Talking about all the money we spent. I think we had to spend that money. That's the thing. But well, we can get into that. But Spencer, anything you got to say on our defense, midfield? I guess our defense around the midfield area with our center backs.
So I figured. So defensively, I still feel like there's been some issues this year, and not like this glaring issue. The offense scoring is the bigger issue, right? Let's not get ourselves here. if we're ranking the issues, offensive production from other forward players,
Mhm.
that's the bigger issue, right?
I say it
But
again.
no, I said if we were ranking our issues, I still think defense has been slightly an issue this year, but not to the same level as, hold on, let me finish, as the offense. If we're ranking problems,
Yeah.
other players not scoring is our first and foremost problem. What I worry about, and I think I said it on Saturday, is our defense not being good enough to hold us from winning positions. And that's twofold, Gary, because you're up 1-0, go get that second goal. Now you're up 2-0. Vice, we're up 1-0, 75th minute. Let's shut it down and hope we don't concede. That goes back to the red card incidents. It's like this all is a calamity of it's a 38 game marathon, and I think we forget that. And the minute you slip up somewhere, the margin of error that you had is now this, and this. And for Arsenal right now, it's like it's really down here. You have barely any margin of error left. But defensively, I would change the system. I'm going a 4-2-3-1. Make an Odegaard play the middle of the pitch. And if you're going to have fullbacks attacking, they're going to be overlapping fullbacks. And they're going to be just running the wings. You're not cutting inside, none of this bullshit. Martinelli will cut inside. Saka will cut inside. You guys can flip-flop if you want to, but I want Odegaard back in the middle of the pitch playing maestro in the middle of the pitch, feeding the left side and the right side. That's what I want. And you can run a double pivot. Moreno and Rice. Moreno, Jorginho. Jorginho, Rice. Jorginho, Partey. I don't care what it is. Odegaard and Newari can be the two that'll make the changes. That's what it should be. This whole inverted left back thing is hurting Martinelli, and it's hurting that left side. Because now you're asking that fullback, which would have been supporting that left winger, is now cutting in on the inside and helping out the box-to-box midfielder. When the reality is he needs to sit over there and feed Martinelli or Trossard or Sterling, whoever's playing in that position. The game's getting a little – got to bring it back to simplistic. I mean, listen, even when we ran a 4-4-2 and we were missing Saliba, I think it was it the 3-game series against Tottenham, Atalanta, and City? We ran a 4-4-2. We were more defensively sound then than the games we're getting caught out defensively. It's with the inverted left back. You get caught on a counter.
That's when Odegaard first got hurt. They switched to that, and it was working pretty good.
Yeah.
Arteta changed it a little bit, then it started not working, and we dropped some points there. But I'm like you. You have to just be practical. You put your best players in their best position. You don't have your attacking midfielder as a box-to-box right-sided midfielder. It makes no sense. 2 years ago, he scored 10 goals. I think if you played him there consistently, with the firepower you have with Saka, you put Newari on there too, and you're getting a lot more goals because you can have those guys interweaving and
I hear you.
stuff. But I think the main thing is coaching, because you gotta have. I would do 4-4-2. That worked. I don't like the 4-2-1-3. I don't see the point of having two holding midfielders when we got a good center back duo there. But it just, to me, it's all coaching, because you see Havertz, he doesn't have him in a striker position. You see Martinelli worrying about defense. You see Saka doing it. You see Odegaard doing it. And it just doesn't work. It's like, you don't need to do this hybrid and try to outthink anybody. Just do something that sets you up solid, is easy to replicate with other players, then do that. I just think he's getting too fancy for his own good, and it doesn't work. He's stubborn. He finally substitutes where at the time he used to get substituted at 60 minutes, give him 30 minutes to change the game. I would have probably been making that change on the left side of the pitch instead of Odegaard off, or at least change the formation, change tactics, something. But it just seemed to me like we gave up a good part of our offense just I don't know, it just didn't make sense with substitutions with time and everything, but it just has to be simple and easy. And I said this, you didn't get to hear it, I don't think, but to me, you have this creativity, even though they're set by the coaches originally, but you have Gabrielle, you have Odegaard and Saka. They all come there and talk, plan out what they're doing. And guess what? They don't have. They don't have Arteta screaming at them like the rest of the game, and they're allowed to be creative. And I think that's what's held the team back last 3 or 4 seasons, because it's just this methodical thing that he wants precision, same repetitive thing. And it doesn't work because teams can figure it out. And you've seen that near the end of last season. You see that several times this year. And just, you got to do the simple things correct. And you have to let the players be creative and do what they do best instead of. Because there's no reason Odegaard's basically a right back for 2/3 of a game. There's no reason for it. I mean, you're wasting his talents. You're making him work harder. Just came back from injury. Makes the risk for another injury higher. But I've rambled on long enough.
Yeah.
Can I rebuttal?
I just want to say something here real quick. Yeah, Mr. Tom, hang out. Just stay with us, my man. All right, just stay with us, okay? I know you're struggling, but we are here. Have some Pepsi. Have a good bag of chips while you listen to his chat, and we will talk. If you need to talk, we can talk later. Yeah, it sounds like you need to have not just Pepsi, but maybe some water to recover from the party. I think those events put a little stress on the body as well. So
Gatorade and water.
Yeah. No, so just hang out with us and listen to us as we chat. Yeah. But like I say, have a good bag of crisps as we go through that. Now I hear what you're saying. Tony. I mean, Spencer was talking about there's like offense and defense. For me, there's more questions on the offensive side than there is on the defensive side in terms of like how many answers do we need for our offense to be better? There's a few answers that we need on the defensive side. One might be we need more healthier players in some respects, but on the offensive side, there's too many questions to be asked. Why is our supposedly one of the best creators in the world and in Europe not able to play more? He has more of a role as a facilitator and managing how the team defends, and that's why we struggle. As opposed to why we brought him. We said we missed him, and we were struggling. A lot of it, and in my eyes, was because we couldn't score. We bring him back and we can't score because Arteta's putting things on his back that he doesn't need to he shouldn't have to do. Partey, Jorginho, Rice can all handle defensive responsibilities behind the attacking midfielders. All right, Erdegaard doesn't have to do that. I mean, Erdegaard should be, as I've said, we compare him to KDB, right? We don't compare him to a defensive midfielder who controls the middle and makes sure everybody's in the right positions and stuff like that. Rice can do that, right? That's what Rice, I believe, to some degree, was doing at West Ham, right? He was a captain there for a reason, right? There's no reason why he can't do similar things here. Arteta, take away some responsibilities and let this man, let him, as they say, let him cook, right? Between him and Saka, we should be able to get what we need out of games in terms of goal opportunities, but we don't. All right. And then having Trossard and in my and where he come off the bench should be like an added bonus, right? So then that this has all come back to Arteta. And I've actually heard many people say this now, and I've been saying it for a bit. He's risk averse. He wants a 1-0 Arsenal match, right? But one thing that he's done is he's taken one of our better players, and this is what I did when I was coaching the young kids. I took some of my best players and I put them on the defensive side because my thinking was, you know what? If I don't put them there, teams are just going to steamroll over us. But guess what happened? The ball sits in that area a lot more, and when it breaks down, we're in trouble. When it breaks down, we're in trouble sometimes because if they go away from our best player, if they get past the best player that one time, they got nobody to stop them. And for me, I feel like putting Erdegaard in that area doesn't really help us. He can lead further up the pitch, and if we have a 2-goal lead, it makes it a lot easier. I mean, Arteta doesn't see that either, right? He sees potentially that we'll be down a goal, and guess what? Then we will go into our shell, and guess what? Maybe we go down 2 goals because of the way we play. In reality, we should be on the front foot. See what happened to Liverpool? They go down a man and they're down 1. What do? They didn't go into their shell, all right? They have a good attacker. They utilize that. The defense is solid. They leaned on that like they should. Arteta goes, oh my gosh, we're down a goal. At least the way the team plays. You know what? I don't want to give up another goal. Guess what? You need to score a goal at this point. You don't, losing 2-0 at this point is not that bad. You need to actually go out there and get that goal to get back into this game. And Arteta is more error on the side of, you know what?
And Arteta
I don't want to take that risk.
Arteta always does the first thing. He's only not done it once. But the first thing he does, let's bring on another center back.
Yeah.
And to me, that's when you bring on a midfielder, somebody like Partey or Jorginho or Rice that can drop back and give you the defensive cover when you need it. But you have more space, so it's actually easier to be offensive. You kind of save our problems with the offense, but to me, it's the midfield because, I mean, in all intents and purposes, Odegaard's a midfielder, but he should be playing attacking midfielder. You've got Rice, where they haven't figured out what to do with Rice yet. Are you a defensive mid, or are you a box to box? You bought Mourinho. I don't think he's any better than what you have. And you have Winery on the bench that is better than Mourinho. Probably this year, he's probably actually better than Rice because Rice has had a stinker of a year, I think. But I think it's time for Spencer to have his rebuttal and other thoughts.
I don't know, man. I just reset my computer and the pixelation went away.
There
Don't
you
know
go.
what caused it.
Control Alt Delete is a powerful cleanser for what ails your technology, computers, or whatnot. So
As
there you
Rudolph would say, yep.
Yeah.
So look, I would run the double pivot, and this is why I could reestablish that because that's what he's inverting anyway. He's inverting to have that possession in the middle of the park anyway. Puts that left back in there, sits next to the 6, creeps up a little bit. I'd run overlapping fullbacks. That allows Martinelli to just play left wing. And obviously still going to have to do defensive responsibilities, but not do cover for the left back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I as much as we're hard on Martinelli, I do want to really – I'm not going to give him a pass here when I say this, but they're not doing him proper service is my point.
You're setting him up to fail. He's failing. So the only way, there's only 2 options. Either you find somebody who can do what you want, if you're Arteta, or you find a way to play within your system with the talents that he possesses. If you're not going to take advantage of what he possesses, then you're dumb as a coach. You're stupid. You're
I'll take-
naive, and you don't like you don't understand how this thing works. All right, you can't all have Sackers and Erdogors and Gabriels and the Salibas and Reyes and Timbers and Whites. You can't have all of them. Nobody has all of that. You look at any squad, right? Who would have thought an Ake and a Stones would be, playing the way they are? But guess what? I think they get to play a style of football that fits their talents. Not, you know what? I got a box I got to fit you in, and here we go. Right? Playing next to Virgil van Dijk makes life easier for Kanate, and it makes it easier for Trent. Right?
Yeah.
So because you lean on the strengths of your team, and you let the other players that may have deficiencies actually excel at the ones they're good at. Right?
Listen, I think I think some of these things are not simple, but I do think that the greatest coaches, NFL, NBA, pick a sport, who cares?
Mhm.
They know how to work with what they've got.
Yep.
They make things work.
Yep.
They don't sit there and make Tom Brady read options like Michael Vick. They just don't do that. And Arteta's done well. Whether people on the chat room is going to lose their mind that I said that. Oh my
My
god!
favorite.
Oh god, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
Arteta's done well with where this team's at. I just don't know if this team's good enough to win it.
Well, you know what? It's
think
not good
Klopp
if
said
we
it.
don't change anything. Think about it. If where we are right now,
You're
if
going
we
to have
don't
to
do
change.
anything, different, yeah, we're not set up to win
Oh,
anything.
yeah, you're going to have to make changes for sure. You're going to have to tweak the lineup. I think I said it earlier. You got to find the players that want to play. You got to find a guy that's going to take the game by the back of his neck and just push it forward. I know this is and maybe this is just the way I'm wired. Things aren't going well right now. For me, get it right. You got Wednesday, the League Cup. Get in there, smash Crystal Palace, take on Crystal Palace Saturday, smash them again, and let's get it moving. Listen. I would love to see him change the formation, a 4-2-3-1, a 4-4-2, whatever. One of those two. I want to get rid of this inverted fullback thing, but it's not going anywhere, and I hate it. I really hate it. I'm an old school guy. I mean, I've only been really watching this work with Arsenal for about the last 6 to 7 years. Me and Gary are kind of young in our infancy on this, but I've been watching this game for a long time. And I grew up in an era where fullbacks played fullback and center backs played center back. And we see so much crazy shit. I mean, go look back at, and I know you rewatched the game, Gary. We've got times where Gabriel on Saturday was trying to make a run like he was a forward. And I'm like, you're a center back. What are you doing? So there's so many moving parts, and I just wonder.
You know what that is, right? That is
Mass confusion.
No. Sometimes that is Arteta. What are you doing? None of this is working. We're not taking sometimes when I see him do that, it's because we have an opportunity to maybe take advantage of a weakness, and if they're going to leave the center back open to where he can push up the pitch like he does, he should take it. He should give the ball up at some point because sometimes he runs into danger. But I feel like you have to take advantage of what they give in every sport. If you don't take advantage of what the other team is doing, guess what? They're gonna feel like you know what? Because in there, this is what I feel like. If you're sitting there and you see a defensive mistake on one of your teammates made a defensive mistake, and the other team not take advantage of it, you're like, huh? They didn't see that either. Great, right? And it's like, what's going on here? Like, you got to punish people when they make a mistake, right? If they lean the wrong way and you can take them, you take them, right?
Like Odegaard's first shot on Saturday, which was a one-timer, that should have been trapped and a good shot on target.
He's not confident. He's not confident, so he's just gonna that's you know what? We would think. Like if you're confident, he would make that trap, and he would know to make the trap, and then put his foot through it, or make the next pass or whatever it is that needs to be happening. But if you don't have confidence in your game, you do the weird things, right? You see it in every sport. They do the weird things. Like what are they doing? Like, This is a clear header. Why is he not picking an easy spot to put this away? Why is he just putting it right back at the goalkeeper? You can see him. He's standing right in front of you. Pick a corner and go with it, right?
Yeah, listen, this is the thing too about this too, and I have 100% confidence that if this team, best 11, go on the field with any of the top 6, they can win those games.
Yeah.
The difficulty becomes when somebody puts 5 on a back line, 4 in front of them, and then a guy that's up front just running back and forth. What do you do then?
You have to
That's
move.
always
You
been
have to
well,
move
no,
them. I mean, it's like in any sport. If they put all this, the only way you can beat a team, right, is if you move them. We
Yeah.
don't move them at all. We're moving like a big tanker, right? By the time we've moved and went from left to right, the defense is like, "Are you
Well, I'll
okay?
tell
You
you my
ready?"
biggest beef. I said it to you on Saturday. Quick throw-ins.
Mm.
We sit there. Even our free kicks are just like, all right. And I get it. Arsenal probably the best in the league on set pieces. All right, great. But where's the quick free kicks? Where's the quick throw-in?
Yeah.
Trossard did one yesterday, and that's about all we've seen all year.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, well, let's wait for Timber to come up here and he can readjust himself for 6 seconds and shrug his shoulders. And poor little Skelly, he had a bad throw in on Saturday. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah,
But
that was
it is what
poor.
it is.
But you know what? I'll take that.
Yeah,
Because he'll learn from it, and we
he's
don't
18
expect
years
him to.
old.
We don't expect him to be perfect right now. But guess what? You know what? But Arteta has already shown confidence and trust in him. You don't bring him in to North London derby. You don't bring him into Etihad away game when you're down a man and all you're doing is defending, and he has a yellow. Like all those things to me. When I say this to my family all the time, and it's easy, and they go, no, it's not easy. Well, I'm like, okay, it's clear. It's clear as day what you got. You got Skelly, who, for what I believe is a great talent.
Yeah.
And you've shown confidence in him, so just use it. If you don't do that, then that's when the player goes out there and you're like, okay, he probably shouldn't be out there. He's too young. He only looks young because you put that in his head.
He doesn't look scared.
Yeah. No, and where he doesn't look poor on the ball, like scared on the ball. You put him on the ball, and the defender comes at him. He doesn't cower, right?
I think
Like
I
think
think
of
he screwed that up on Saturday.
that Skelly pass to Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Which one of our fullbacks does that? When's the last time you see a fullback do that where he has a man on top of him? He basically shrugs him off and puts a pass and splits the 2 defenders.
I mean, Ben White used to make passes like that, but outside of that, it's really. I think most of our fullbacks have done that. The only reason I say this is you're looking at them and you're watching them in a different light.
I don't feel like I've seen enough of them do that. That's all.
I'll tell you who was really good at putting those balls in, and everybody's going to kill me in the chat room here, but I'm here for that. Zinchenko is really good at doing some of those through balls, but his defensive liability is horrible.
You say that, and I keep asking for that, and I don't see enough of that for me to feel like I've seen it where we actually scored.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never feel like I've ever said that pass, that assist was led by Zinchenko. I don't feel like I've said that enough for him, for what he's supposed to bring to the table. He's supposed to be that guy that does that consistently for us, and I don't feel like I've seen enough of that to go. Like I don't remember the last time he did one of those passes where we scored a goal off of his pass. He was the pass before the pass kind of thing. I don't remember.
He gets quite a bit of hockey assist.
I'll say this
because he does have the vision to do it.
Mm-hmm.
For 18 years old, that pass that Skelly made, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
For 18 years old.
Yep.
This is my thing here. We're going to have this conversation again before the year's over. We're going to sit here on another Monday night and be like, hey, we had this conversation. Because until I see Martinelli and the other forward players, pick whatever name, Havertz, Sterling, Jesus, I don't know, Bob, Dylan, whatever. Until I see them start picking it up, we're going to have these conversations again. It
But
it really go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
but Jesus is the one that really bothers me out of this because he goes on there and he doesn't do anything. Hasn't had a goal for almost a year at this point. In January, to be a year since he scored a goal. I don't think he's doing assists or making runs to clear out space or anything. It's just like it's an extra defender that's up front. But just, just to me, a lot of it's Arteta. He has to change, but the players do too. And with Martinelli, when we went to that 4-4-2, he was so lost over there on that left. But that should be a great position for him because if you're in a 4-4-2 like that, you're basically a winger, but you're deeper, so you could use your speed to run up there. And we know he has a defensive ability, but he just looked like he could not play in that system for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because he wasn't comfortable with it, but he looked lost every game there. I know commenters spotted it a couple of times, but he just didn't work out there.
We hear all the time when Martinelli's football IQ, and I think most people don't think it's that good. So if it's not that good, then you need to dumb it down for him if you're Arteta. And I don't know if one I don't think Arteta knows how to at least I don't feel like he does how to get the best out of an attack. How to we keep saying we've been dealing with a low block for how many years now, and we still don't have an answer for it, and we haven't bought answers for it.
I keep saying the answer is Chris Wood. I keep saying that.
No, but I mean we're not doing we're not making it work with the players we got. We're not bringing in players to open things up for us. So no matter what a team does, we have an answer for it, right? So
January is going to be interesting. That's for sure.
And it doesn't sound like we're going to bring anybody in, but it does sound like we have the money to do it. So for me, like some of the chats I'm in, it sounds like we have the money to get whatever player we want. I mean, whatever player we want. So you could think of what that means. We have the money to get whatever player we want.
Can I bring up something?
So think about whatever player you would want to answer the question of how can we fix our offense. We have the money to do that. We had the money to do that in the fall, in the summer. Sorry, we didn't do it for multiple. We didn't do it for multiple reasons. I don't think it would have been the answers most people were thinking in terms of what Arteta and Edu may have brought in. But we have money to bring in the players. And if you look at how we did our summer window, we only spent at the end of the day probably about, I think it was whatever, 20 to 50 mil, I think in total, I think after all the sales and stuff that we did. So we didn't spend much money at all. So, that's been a while since we've done something like that where we've actually brought in multiple players and sold well, right? We sold 4 players. We've never done that since Arteta's been here, where we sold them for amount of cash, right? So we're doing we did that well, but like we let go right? A lot of our attacking players, and we brought in none. Sterling isn't really. We didn't bring in Sterling because that wasn't we were looking for a player, and it just so happened Sterling was the answer. No, that was just we know we have an opportunity to bring in a player late, we'll do that. But in reality, we wanted Sesko or bust, and I think that was silly. Because there were lots of answers, lots of loan opportunities we could have gone with. Why not? Osman on a loan? Come on, seriously. You wouldn't take that? If it works out, then it works out. Then you could.
I mean, most of us would take this. We just don't. If it was that simple, I think it would happen.
I don't think we would look. I don't think. One, I don't think we were looking at that maybe as him as an option to begin with. So I think that's why, huh?
Probably not. But this is the thing about this system. The forward players are expected to do hold up play. That's exactly what their role is. It's part of the score goals and do hold up play in the middle of the park. And that's Jesus still does that well. He still does very well in the midfield, but his final third in the box it's you talk about a guy who needs a goal bad. I'm hoping he starts tomorrow or Wednesday and gets a freaking goal. I need these guys to show up.
Well,
I
in
don't listen,
where
these guys,
Jesus, Sterling, they need to play, and then for me, let Erdegaard play because I feel like he needs to figure out how to get. I need him thinking about helping out those three players to get them into the game, as opposed to worrying about the defense because Gabriel or Saliba, one of those two will play no matter what we do, right? So we'll be fine through the middle, especially if he's playing there. And Rice or Jorginho or Partey could play through the middle if we're getting healthier on the outside in terms of our fullbacks, right? So we have answers for all of that. But we need to, like Crystal Palace will come to play one of these two games. I doubt they're going to come strong both games, right? This might be their final, right, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because if they can steal us, get out of this thing, they're going to try and do that, I believe. Do they really think like because I think it's home and away, right? I think is that how it works out? I don't know if we play home first.
No, so this is a quarter.
Yeah, we play home first and then we play away. So basically,
yeah.
So
one in the cup, one in the league.
Yeah, so like this home, even it's a home match for us. That this is one way they might think we're gonna make changes, and then maybe they can steal something from here and then go home and have their fans on their back because they have been playing well of late. So Arteta's got we've seen him go strong multiple times, and like for me, no time like the present. Let's just sweeps Crystal Palace. Don't even and give our players some rest. I want us to be able to pull our players because we have a significant lead, and they're not gonna test us like like West Ham basically didn't test us after about 60 minutes, right? That's what we need. That's where we need to. That's how I feel. That's how I will know that we are making the right moves and progressing well, and we'll see.
I mean, you think about it. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
And you have Crystal Palace. Most of these players 2 years ago were there for a long FA Cup run, so they know what that takes. But one thing Spencer mentioned is you mentioned just your job. These guys need to have one job. They don't need to have 3 or 4 jobs. Just give you one thing that you do on the field. I mean, there's a little bit of defensive duty that's always involved, but basically just dumb it down for everybody. Say, you go attack. You don't need to go do defensive cover all the time like Odegaard does. To me, you just dumb it down. Then you're going to be a lot better because you don't have a lot of. To me, you end up with like you always have people mention the chicken with their head cut off. It's like we have a whole hen house of players that do that because they have so many duties. You have Arteta screaming at them, but if they know what they can do and also have the freedom to do what they want to do, I think that's a big part of it because I think Arteta is one of those managers, if you don't listen to what he said in training, he'll yank you out mid-match if you do something that he doesn't like. Then you're not playing for another month or two.
Well, that's his rules. But we can say hello to Bargav. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Lots of comments that I've starred that I want to get into. We've already hit the hour mark, and I guess we're talking about Crystal Palace, so that's kind of cool. Got off of the last game talking about Crystal Palace, but yeah, like I said, we needed to go into that 4 or 5 winning streak. 10, 12 would be nice, but just let's start with 1 again because we got to start over again. And this week we need to go go 2-0 basically, get the 2 wins and see where we are after that. There's a couple of questions here. Let's go ahead and answer these right now. Nick had he said, will Arsenal finish above Chelsea?
I don't think so. To me, I was shocked with that run that Chelsea made at the end of last season because they were hovering around 12th, somewhere around there, storm up to 6th, but they sacked their manager. It's like, that's interesting. And now they started off a little bit slow, but now they got things running, and I think they're to be serious competition to actually win the league, not just finish ahead of us. I think they look like a team that can catch Liverpool because Liverpool can slip up. But just to me, Chelsea looks, especially right now, like a team that can go on a very long run, which Arsenal and City did last year. But I mean, Chelsea looked good. They finally seem to find a way to avert the crazy owner they have, but they definitely seem like they have a right manager in charge, and I'll just see Arteta being too stubborn to make the changes. I forgot to say when Gary mentioned it earlier that you have like this extra 90 million from the Champions League. You didn't spend that. Then you didn't have much cost outlay in the summer anyway. So why didn't you go out there and buy you somebody elite, either elite midfielder, elite
Yeah.
attacker?
As I said,
It
we've
doesn't
got
matter.
money. We've got enough money, I believe, to cut. We've got hundreds of millions of dollars that we can use on players. You know, like like more than like we could. I believe we could if we wanted to say, Isaac, if you want out, we'll get you in January if they wanted to. All right.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think we're at that. I mean, we have the monies to do that. And if that's who they want to get, they should get him. Why wait till the summer? We need like somebody now, especially if we're going to make deep runs and other things. I mean, he's not playing in Europe, so we don't have to worry about that, right? So, yeah, the Chelsea thing for me is I was always concerned because it wasn't as if they had terrible players. They didn't have good defenders in my eyes, but as far as their attackers at midfield up, they had they had they had some good players there. Some were injured. They didn't, weren't able to get around. So eventually, I think when things settled down, when they let a manager come in and actually just run things his own way a little bit and not kind of put any pressure on him or whatever, which I felt like they did to some of the other managers, things worked out a little bit better. I mean, all their players that they have shown that they've got the talent to compete in the league. So I'm not too surprised on the offensive side, and that's kind of where they're like, for example, they're beating teams because their offense is really good, right? We were beating teams in the last 2 seasons because our defense was really good, right? You kind of leaned on them, but at some point you need to get balance. We keep talking about balance, left and right sides. Same thing with our offense and defense. We were able to compete well because our defense was really strong, but we need offense to catch up. um, I, we saw it in the last game. Brentford could have easily have drawn that game. Could have even won that game. The way they were basically attacking that last 20, 30 minutes. That's where I think if you're going to get Chelsea, you can, because their defense is not where it needs to be. It's not at the same level as the offense. So that's where, if we can figure things out on the offensive side, we'll be able to catch up to them and pass them. But if we continue to struggle, we're going to be right where we are, probably sitting on the outside of the top two, looking in. Spencer, what do you think? Chelsea.
God knows, honestly, and I don't mean that as a joke. Like, who knows? I mean, I think you summarized it. I still think there's a lot left in this year.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody's running away with it. It feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Liverpool was there for a minute, but they seem to come back down to earth. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this: it wouldn't shock me if Chelsea won this league this year.
Yeah, anybody can win this league right now.
I mean, dude, today we saw Bournemouth. I was watching it, and it said they were in 6th place.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's how,
if they would have won that, they would have been tied with City
you know what I mean?
for
So
5th, and just the only difference would have been goal differences. If they would have won by, I think, 2 or 3 goals, they would have been ahead of City, and City would be sitting at 6th right now. So I feel like, yeah, it's an open season. Yeah, I'm going to jump back and forth here because you guys have got some good things here. So because we were talking about Crystal Palace, and this is the lineup. I mean, Bargav said he's happy to go into the Wednesday game. Yeah, we need to get a victory. I would like to get a comfortable win, get these players feeling good about the football they're playing, not like what Arteta likes to do, which is like struggle to get a 1-0, 2-1 win when they shouldn't have to do that. They need to get that taste of victory, and then if you have to rotate because of it, so be it. We should be good enough to be able to rotate. We're playing at home we're playing on the road. We'll just have to deal with that when it comes. But we need to get this win, and I'd like to see a good performance. We're on track to close the gap less than 6 points. I've thrown it away. Yeah. Well, we've thrown this opportunity away. I'd like to think there are more than just this one opportunity. So yeah, here's the lineup. Yeah.
Season is not written.
Yeah, so here's the lineup that Arsenal has for Scott. He's got Raya, Timber, Saliba, Kiwior back 3. Partey and wait,
Gabriel.
who did I forget?
He forgot Gabriel. He said
Gabriel. Sorry. I read that and I was like, wait a second, that doesn't sound right. Why did he go with the back 3? But Gabriel's missing there. But yeah, Raya, Timber, and Kiwior. That's all right. Here we go. And then you got Partey, Rice, and Erdogan in that midfield. And then you've got Martinelli, Havertz, and Saka. Yeah. For me, the only reason why I continue to play Martinelli is because I don't know. I know people will like Trossard, but I feel like it doesn't help when he starts. I mean, I like him pissed off. Usually more pissed off when he comes off the bench than when he starts. Like if he starts the game the way he comes on when he comes off he comes on as a sub, I'll take it. But it's not the same football, and I don't, I need both. I need him to do it no matter if he starts or not. I mean, I said he was our Jota, but he doesn't start like a Jota, When Jota starts, it looks different, right?
we don't have any player like Jota. We don't have any player.
But I mean, that was our Jota. I didn't say he is a copy of it, but that was our Jota, Arsenal's Jota. He comes off the bench, he kind of fires things. He's our microwave, basically.
I think the problem is, Gary, you gotta pick one of our two, because end of a season, Trossard, 10 straight games, 6 goals scored. You've seen some very good long passes that he's done to Havertz for assists. I mean, that one was like a laser beam to his head, and then there's another one that he did. To me, he can make the runs. Martinelli can't make the runs. But as an attacker, there's one thing you need. You need the number of games. You can't just play 2 or 3 games and go to the bench for 2 or 3 games and come back. You have to have the minutes. You have to get your timing down. You got to figure out how the players around you are playing at the time. Do they got the pace to get up there? Do they make the runs I want? How do they easily run? I mean, all that's figured out when you're playing solid. And to me, people keep saying he can't start, but if he gets 6 goals in 10 games, to me, that's more than good enough.
Yeah, and then people will say then Martinelli has given us 15 goals. So then, which one do you take? Do you go with the most recent one, or you go with the person who has, potential to do the 16? Yeah, Spencer, anything you got to say about this lineup? I mean, this is basically our best 11 to some degree at this point.
I mean, I wouldn't go 4-2-1-3. I'd do more 4-2-3-1 with Havertz up top and Martinelli more close to Odegaard and Saka. I mean, I would get away from the inversion, man. There's games where it makes sense and there's games where it doesn't. And when you do it every week, I mean, it's a good lineup.
You
I
asked
don't.
for a double pivot. You're getting a double pivot here.
Yeah, so when I look at it, I'm looking at Kivior or MLS. That's where I mean, now the only thing is Calafiore able to come back. Like, there's other unknowns with this. Like, I like it because it's a double pivot. I do like it. Man, I think that's the solution, man. Like,
Yeah.
put Timber on the side with Saka, leave him over there. Maybe Calafiore, MLS, or Kivior on the left side, hanging out with Martinelli.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be crazy with it, I'm even okay with giving Jesus a start at the left wing. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
But that
Mhm.
it's not a bad lineup. It's not a.
Yeah.
I just want to win. At the end of the day, here I think winning a cup, and I know people probably the League Cup.
It's a
doesn't
3-game winning streak. We get a cup at the end of
Yeah.
this. All right. I
That's
mean,
it. Well,
that right there is
or- because you got to do the 2 semifinal games. Those are home and away.
So sorry, yeah. So 3 rounds, but four games, but 4 games. You could win it in 1 game if you blow the team out, basically.
Yeah.
But and we can do that. We've shown we can blow teams away. But you've got 4 games to basically get a trophy. Everything else takes more games, and it's spread out a lot further. This one is the first one of the year.
Can
Get
you
this
put
one.
the
You set
lineup
you
back up again real quick, Gary?
Yeah, I can do that.
I gotta go on something here in a second.
Okay.
Well, no, like everybody talking about the manager. The Cronkies don't fire people. The last person fired by KSE, and that includes the Nuggets, Avs, Rams, was Unai Emery in 2018-ish. What year is it now? They don't fire people unless it gets really bad.
Yeah.
So we can sit here and talk about Chelsea ambitions and how they fire people left and right. Arsenal Football Club by Stan Kroenke is not run that way.
Mm-hmm.
It will never be run that way.
Yeah.
Now the difference is Michael Malone won an NBA Finals, Jared Bednar won the Stanley Cup with the Avs, and Sean McVay won the Super Bowl with the Rams.
Yeah. The thing with all those things is they had, in my eyes, some of the best players at the time on those squads. We don't have that yet. We have young up and coming players, but we don't have the established players like somebody who's competing with a KDB or with a Salah, right? With a Vinny, with a Harry Kane. We don't have those level of players right now in some of those high profile positions. And that's the difference people keep talking about we need that world class. We need the world class player. We need to bring one in. We have potentially some coming up, but we need that bump, right? We need that big bump to make a difference. So we have the advantage with that, as opposed to we're going to make these guys so then they're still growing and they still have a lot of, we need to bring in somebody established who comes in with trophies. Just like someone will say we need a manager who comes in with trophies. Who cares where they got them from? But we need that kind of thing. So for me, that's So either you go get the best that's out there.
How many years did Wenger get before he left? I'm asking BX the question. How many years was Wenger here?
What do you mean years? Like when things started to go bad?
They fired Wenger, right? Yeah, they fired Wenger.
Yeah, I think his first 8 years were really good, and then the last 10 or so were like not so good, right? Something like that.
So there's
I believe it's 16, but I could be wrong.
But I mean, he built up enough credit in the bank, right? But Arteta hasn't built up anything in the bank.
I'm just telling you how KSE operates.
Yeah. No, it's
That's how they operate. We can talk till we're blue in the face. That's how they operate.
True,
and they've really only had this club to itself since 2018-ish.
Yeah.
So,
but the difference is, I think Spencer is But the reason they spent all this money was to get us in Champions League.
Mhm.
And if we drop to fifth or we just don't really advance much in the Champions League, I think they'll be asking questions. And one problem we have is you have a dude which is basically on a vacation. You got a winter window where we need to do something, and you got a summer window where we need to rebuild the midfield and find a world class.
Rebuild the midfield. How? What do you mean? We have Rice and Erdogan. How much rebuilding are you talking about?
You still need depth. Mourinho to me isn't good enough. You have T-Bag that hasn't been good
Well, I
enough.
don't. Well,
Like
he's not coming back, right? So
yeah, but you got to replace those players. And like I said before, you got to have somebody like, I'll even go to Rice. I used to say 80 million, but you have 106 million Rice. If he isn't doing good enough, then you need to have a $60 million player that can go out there and play instead of his place. I mean,
I don't
just
think
because you're more.
I don't think anybody's doing that. That we're not those type of teams that can do that. So I get it. We're not paying 100 and then another 50, even though we've done something similar. We've not spent 100 and then 150 on the same on one position.
Well, that's another reason why they're.
We've spent about 600 million on defense.
Yeah, but that's
over the
spread out
last 5
across
years.
4 positions, right? We're not that. I mean, what's I don't. Are you sure about that?
How
We spent
many?
55 on Ben White. We spent 45 on Timber. We spent what is it 20 or
25
30 on Calafiori. All right, spent 25 on Gabrielle. We spent less than 20, I think, on Saliba. Right, well that wasn't a big deal. All right, Curio was another 20. I mean, I don't know about the 600 mil on the defense like that we have right now. Maybe over the course of time we have because we brought players in and let them go. But right now, we didn't spend 600 on the players we have right now.
I mean,
They might be worth 600, but we didn't spend 600
but
on.
but aren't we glad they're at least spending money? Can we take a second and like, it's easy to sit here and say 800 million spent. Like, at least we're spending money.
No,
and not,
I think we had to spend the money because we
right.
had.
But my
we
point
had
is the
to-
owners aren't lazy. I know people
Yeah.
will sit there and fidge numbers to make it to do their narrative against the Cronkies or whatever, but
Yeah.
they've spent money.
Yeah, it's not. I
Whether
think
it's earned by the club or not is another discussion. Because
Yeah.
they could just say, "Hey, don't spend the 100 million we made this year." They could do that. But they don't.
Mhm.
But what they did, Spencer, is they waited to spend that money until this new Champions League format was very close. And yeah, 2 years ago, instead of saying, "Oh, we want top 4," finally, after the season ended, after Adu and Arteta wanted to answer this question, they finally said they were happy with anything above 6th place. And when they were in the position to easily pass Chelsea, had a 70% chance twice during the season there. We did nothing in the winter window. We could have had Bruno Gamar, and later that season you had them say, "Oh, we don't want to buy a player that would upset the project." So by not spending, sometimes you can upset the project. And to me, what has Mourinho brought? Yeah, or Calafiori. I don't think either one of them are better than midfield or left back choices we had.
No, but if we're fully healthy, it's Ben White and Timber, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Calafiori, I think was another one of those risk-taking ones because he comes in with the baggage of his injuries.
And he's 22.
and he's young, so he's younger than I think he's just younger than Kyrgios, or at least the same age as Kyrgios. So I kind of felt like we've got some like that was for me not a like that's another one of those. This is one for later. Like Kyrgios was one for later. We don't need him to be at the levels just yet because he's not going to be, or else he would have been. So for me, Calafiori isn't something for right now. He can play, right? But is he supposed to replace Timber or White? I don't think so. Marino is the one where you know what we could have gone a different direction. He brings some seniority, but I don't know if we have the right midfield for his skill set, or we're not using him right. One of the two.
I think people misconstrue ambition, and I think it's in this click the button and fix it now world. I mean, look at where this team was in 2018 when he took over compared to where it is now. Like, it's a drastically better squad. I mean, Arsenal spent $100 million on Rice. If that's not ambition, then I mean, I don't know. Look.
But
It is, but we have like we've been asking for. I mean, you know it. We've needed a striker since we bought in back-to-back windows. We bought
he's
50,
trying to
plus
win
50,
without
60. And you know what? And he can't because he
Dumb.
doesn't play. He doesn't have the best players in the other positions to make it work. So,
and that's dumb to do that.
If you're not going to get a striker, then make sure your right wing and your left wing are close to the same level. They're not even close. Right? Make sure your your left 8 is close to your right 8 or whatever you want to call it. Your right center. Your attacking mid or whatever you want to call it, right? But you're not doing that either. So you basically just watered down yourself because you got one good player here and then a poor player there. So then you know what, and we're all on the same side of the pitch. So left-sided, we're good. Right-sided on the attack, not so good. All right. So I mean, that's like for me. I've always said, get your starting 11 right, and then start filling it in. We're bringing in players that he won't start, and if that's the case, then don't spend too much money on them because you need to bring in starters to plant, to say because like we knew Trossard and Martinelli, they weren't doing it for us right now. So the only way you can better that is get somebody better than them that starts for you. Like you're the midfield. You thought they thought it wasn't the right fit. They went out and said, you know what, Partey, you're always injured. They went out and got the best midfielder they could in that position, right?
And look at Partey. All of a sudden, he's healthy all the time. My God.
Got some competition, and now he feels good. And he's got his end of his contract as well. So who knows? That's probably an incentive as well.
I think to blame the Cronkies is just. I don't know. People are going to completely disagree with me on this. I know they are, but it's just. I think. I don't see where there is not ambition from the ownership. I mean, they're going to expand the stadium. People say, well, that's so they can make more money for foreigners. Okay, maybe. But now you're also bringing more revenue, which means what? Gary and Tony, you can spend more money because we're bringing in more money.
But, I mean, people want them to spend that money first, and then they can build the stadium. So they're building it with trophies. They're building it with. They're opening up the new stadium with a trophy presentation. Not we're gonna get the trophy soon after we open up the new stadium. That's kind of my
they're not doing the new stadium. My understanding is they're adding seating.
Yeah. No, but like the grand opening, right? That's what I meant to say. So the grand opening, we just put in an extra 20,000 more seats, and guess what? You 20,000 people now get to see this unveiling of the guys with the trophies and the ring and the medals and all that kind of stuff,
But to me, Spencer, you had Emery. He wants Zaha, but instead they go out and spend 72 million on Pepe, which the manager never wanted. I mean, the only players he got that he really wanted was the ones that he had scouted while he was at PSG. He saw Saliba. He saw Gabriel, and I think he still somehow spotted Martinelli because Martinelli kept having tests with Man United, and stuff, but you weren't spending the money then because to me you weren't close enough to this window of this new Champions League format that gives you a bunch more money because there are
You
more
actually
games.
you actually make it sound like that's the way they set up their plan
I,
for what players
I
to
think
bring
it
in.
was.
I don't think they're.
I'm gonna
I don't
tell you
think
right
that's the
now.
model that they're like. Oh wait a second, we're going to do all of this to go into the Champions League. That's what we're going to do.
They would, but
I
they
don't feel
wouldn't
like.
do it. But
I
Gary,
don't think so.
I got this one. Respectfully, Tony, like then they wouldn't do what they did with the Rams. They wouldn't do what they did with the Nuggets. They wouldn't do what they did with the Avs. If there was no ambition in there, those three teams would still suck. That's just my counterpoint to that. I
Yeah.
hear you, Tony. I hear you
Yeah.
on that. And of
Yeah.
course, don't get me wrong. Money is a motivating factor. You don't get involved in this stuff without the idea of making some money. But I just see things with those other three franchises that tell me they care about winning. The people I know that work at KSE, they love working for KSE.
The difference to me, Spencer, is that you can go out, spend that money that year, and that year you can win a championship. And you're not gonna have that in world football. I mean, like you've seen it with Emery. What he did it with Aston Villa. So I think if he was getting the proper support from the Kroenikes, he would have been a lot more successful. Because one thing he can do, he can do long European runs. One thing everyone at Arsenal has wanted, Champions League. He could give you a Champions League. Instead, you're waited for like 5 years to actually get into a Champions League. But I still think that's why they were outlaying the cash because they didn't want to be in a position like, shit, we're in sixth or seventh. We're not going to get there. We're going to have to sack Arteta and start over again.
Yeah, I don't. I hear you, but I don't think that.
I just
Like
think it's so hard to win a championship.
if basically what you're saying, you're saying that they're not ambitious because they're just doing it now because they get in the Champions League, they get more money and all that kind of stuff, and it's not really geared to win anything, and I do believe that the KC does want to have trophies be lifted in their stadium. I believe that. Yeah. I don't know what this is about. What is this?
Making sure Tom's all right.
Yeah, no, I try to reach out to him. I mean, he could be, hopefully, he's sleeping off the craziness in his head. So
I'll reach out to him tomorrow too, make sure he's all right when I get up.
Yeah, I'm hoping he went to sleep. He probably, he when he's feeling a certain way, I think sleep is the best remedy for him. So hopefully that's that's going on there.
He usually calms the mind, and he's done it before, like when he's not feeling doing the show because Leeds lost or whatever it was in the past. But he would go rest and give his mind a rest. Because I won't get too deep into it with everybody, but
he needs to hopefully, like I said, hopefully he's doing all right, and as we've told him, we're here for him, so whenever he's if he needs to chat, he can reach out to us.
But Gary, if I may, I'll say this. I think sometimes and I talk about our sports, man, we get so wrapped around the axle about this stuff that we forget how good life can be. And sometimes it's I don't know. We're sitting here working up over Arsenal, but the grand scheme of things, it just doesn't really fucking matter. It just
you know what I'll tell you this much. As much as you've listened to me on the shows and stuff, when I hit the end stream button, it's over.
Yeah.
But I like that. I feel like this is, I guess, as people say, it's like the therapy. I can actually talk about the things that are bothering me with what I see, right? And I do like to. I feel like that's it's healthy to be able to do that. I would like to scream at the TV when things don't go right. I like to scream at the TV when things go right. right? And I think that's part of being a fan. I think all of this, all these emotions that we feel, at least for me, I feel like I'm just part of this thing we call fandom. If you don't have the bad days, the good days don't mean much.
But
If you don't
But
have the
but
good
to,
exactly.
days, if you don't have the good days, the bad days, will just sneak up with you and knock you down. You know what I mean? So
I,
you kind of have
I,
like they both work. I think they both work together to help you
I,
stay
I,
grounded, but also to help enjoy this thing because you start out a game, you're down 2 goals, you finish up winning 3-2. You don't even remember being down 2-0 at any point. You know what I mean?
but
So
I
Just
think
remember, even Rudolph was asked to guide his sleigh tonight with his deformities.
there you
So
go. There you go. It
but,
might be a mutation, but it might be a good
but
one.
but I think there's a difference. I think some of us can say we support a team. Then you actually go, instead of saying fan, you say fanatics because they're just
No,
focused in on that
fan
team.
means fanatical, all right? It means I'm a fanatic. That's what a fan
Yeah,
means for short.
but I don't think I don't think I can say I'm fanatical
You are, because if
about.
we talk to you about anything, you're gonna bring up what happened in 1985.
he
So
brings up
so
the
any
whole
so any
thing.
so if that's not
Freaking
fanatical, I don't know
holding.
what is, Tony. You will bring up anything to
I
fit your
I, I,
narrative. That is
I
what is
just
called
don't
being a
put
fan.
I
It's also
I
very
just don't put
smart
all.
too.
I just think if you're fanatic
You
that
are. You are all fanatics, or else you
no,
wouldn't do this.
but I think the emotion overtakes just being relaxed, taking things
Yeah.
as they are.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, Gary, and actually Spencer said it. It's like it doesn't matter two shits what we say because none of us are in any position to be able to
Yeah.
contact
My
Arsenal
kid
and
my
say,
kids joke with me all the time. It's like, they can't hear you. I'm like, I don't care. I'm still gonna scream at the screen.
but what gets me, Gary, is that when we sit here and analyze and
Yep.
critique things, people take that negative. But guess what? The teams do the same thing. The coaches look at the tapes, the player looks at the tape. It's like, this is what you can do better, or this is what I want you to do in this situation. But
I'd say
I think we falsely get accused of being too critical or being
I think
anti-Arsenal
overreactionary
or
would be the proper term, Tony. I think sometimes overreactionary is what we are sometimes because I'm gonna go Denver Broncos last night. 31-13 over the Indianapolis Colts. That game was not close. 31-13 sounds like a blowout, but it's not. The guy dropped the ball going to the end zone. But you know what I'm upset about, Gary, Tony? They couldn't run the ball. Bo Nix was the leading rusher, 6 rushes for 25 yards. I should be happy. The Denver Broncos secured their first winning season since 2016, but I can't get over the fact we can't run the daggone ball because you get greedy as a fan. The Denver Broncos were projected to win 6 games this year,
Well,
and
yeah.
now they're at 9.
Yeah.
I want to win the playoffs. I want to win the Super Bowl. You get greedy as a fan.
Yeah.
You're
No,
greedy.
that's like when we were watching the game and we win 3-0, and I'm like, but you know what? If any of that happens against any of the top 6, we're losing that game. And then people are like, "Oh, that's negative." And it's like, well, because I know what's coming. You know what I mean? Like the style of play that we got worked today. That's just because the other team really wasn't clinical today. But in reality, we're losing this. Everybody says, you know what? Last year, if this was the same Arsenal, we would have lost this game. Well, I'm going to say, if
Yeah.
you know what, if we play the way we did against many teams, we're going to lose. Right? It's the same thing. Everybody thinks it's different. It's the same thing. If you can think that, you know what, if you play a certain way, if you play a certain way last year and you're playing better now, that the things don't correlate. It does, right? Like if we played it, think about it. The Villa game, right? The Villa game, we easily could have been a 2-2 game, right? We won 2-0.
Mhm.
For me, poor performance, good result, right? Right? But it's shown that, you know what? Villa isn't that clinical anyway, so that was just a blip, right? That wasn't a blip. That was actually the reality. They're not as clinical as they need to be. But against Arsenal, it was, you got lucky. But in reality, that was the game because we've seen it now Villa can't really score as well as they can attack, but are not as clinical as we thought you thought they were. You know, so I think a lot of times people look at the Arsenal matches and then they laugh and they laugh at us, and then turns around. Well, look at this. This team's actually playing better than we lost 2-0 to Bournemouth. Where's Bournemouth now? Nobody's thinking, oh wait, Arsenal lost to them. Yes, we went down a man and stuff, and they blew us out and all of that, but they're not a bad team, right? Brighton got a lucky goal, got a lucky opportunity against us. They're not as good as we thought they were, right? You know, we've had opportunities to beat once again, all the teams in the top 10, I think now that we've played. I think we played everybody in the top 10 now, right? Yeah, played everybody in the top 10. We have only beaten Forest, Villa, and that team. So 4 teams out, and we played all of them, half of them, most of them on the road, right? I think we need to do better, right? But that's what we've done, right? We play the bottom half of the table, and we're still struggling. That's the part that's really sucks about this whole thing. It's been 100 minutes. I don't know if you guys. I'll let you guys have your say as we get out of here. So I didn't realize it's been 100 minutes now. We usually go 90. So Spencer, you ready, or do you want me to go with Mr. Tom? Mr. Tom. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Well, hold on. As Rudolph would say.
Rudolph would say.
Anyway, no. Happy Monday. Can't wait. Christmas is around the corner. I think I don't know. I'm working a lot during the holidays, but it's all from home, Gary. So Tony, so it's whatever. But it's still got work to do. But everybody, take care of yourself. I hate doing these shows when we lose or it doesn't go well. Gary will let you know. I freaking hate these shows. It's just not. I have a 24-hour rule. I move on the day next.
All these rules. I don't like these rules. I like. As I said, I like to just be able to sit here and stew in this thing when I'm on the show, because it's processing in my head anyways. So why don't I just put it out on tape? You know what I mean?
I've been thinking about my Broncos show this Thursday and what I'm going to talk about. But anyway, the NFL is going well. So obviously, when things don't go well, you just move on to the next one. Yeah. So I have a 24-hour rule, and I try to move on quickly. Look, Carabao Cup this week. Crystal Palace. Let's go get it. I don't care what people think about the League Cup. Just win some silverware, man. It doesn't even matter where you get it. Just find a piece of silverware. Let's make it happen. I don't know if the league's completely lost. It's not trending in the right direction, but let's go win the other 3. Why not, man? Why not? So Thursday, I'm planning on doing Sam's show with Tony. With Tom. Sorry, Tony. With Tom doing the 5 Christmas, your 5 favorite Christmas movies. That's 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock UK. And then at 7 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock UK, I'll be doing a quick Bronco Talk episode 2. Denver plays San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers at 8:15. So I'll be a quick in and out so I can watch that game. If not, everybody have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Cool. Say hi to Lola, who just joined us as we are heading out of here. Tony, what say you?
I didn't bring it up when we were talking about it, but to me, I didn't like the lineup that was shown there. I don't want to go super, super strong, because you wear those players out. You don't got players to replace them, and I would a lot rather try to win the Premier League than a secondary domestic cup that doesn't really matter to anybody anymore.
I think winning begets winning.
But for me, like I said earlier, to me, I don't see myself as a fanatic. I've been nice and peaceful the last 6 years when it's came to my Thunder and their 181 first-round draft picks. They ended up trading away and getting and stuff. But tomorrow night they'll be playing for the in League Cup, which I would like to see implemented into the Premier League, so you don't have the League Cup as a separate competition. But hopefully, the Thunder win that. And hopefully, Arsenal. I don't know. I just going to Selhurst Park's always a dangerous place. That's why so much in the upset challenges, I always tended to go for Crystal Palace, and they didn't let me down so much. And I talked about this yesterday on Ray's show. I was really wanting tomorrow to be the Selhurst, or this coming game to be the Selhurst Park, and on the
You know what?
weekend
Yeah, I'm going to
would
cut
have
you
been
off
at
there because
Emirates.
you're just saying really, really, really bad stuff. Don't say that again. All right. You just basically said I'm a bet against my own team. That's what you just said. That's what I heard.
No, I just said an upset challenge. I would
No,
Selhurst Park.
you just said you're going to go against your own team. I don't like it.
Oh, I didn't.
You did. You said you wish the game on the yeah. That's what you said. You want us to lose to them. You see that happening. Is that what you said?
I think it's more chance that we would lose this weekend if we play there than switching
Well,
around.
that's where we're playing. So, anything else you got to say, Tony?
Hope Mr. Tom's sleep resting.
Yep.
He usually makes quick comebacks, so
Yep.
that's pretty much it.
I hear you on that one. Yeah. So I'll second that one. But yeah, as Tony said, Mr. Tom, hope you're just resting it up and sleeping it off. Not only the drinking, but the weight of the world and the craziness that it puts on us. So everybody, thank you again for joining us. We Arsenal, plays on Wednesday. Crystal Palace at home. I think if Arteta is going to go strong, it's time to go strong, and let's go on a roll here and pull up, plug and play as much as you need to as we go through this thing. That's kind of how I feel that we should do it, as opposed to like rotate. Just plug and play your players who need it, and so you're just playing with as strong as a lineup as you can. But we'll see you guys on the next one. Next time we talk. We're talking right before. I guess we're talking pre-Christmas Eve, and then hopefully we've beaten Crystal Palace twice. Moved on to the semis? The semis. I think it is right. That's the next round. This is the quarters, I think, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So, and get that 3 points that we need, and then go from there. See how the rest of the weekend plays out. So thank you again for joining us. We will do this again. Thank you, everybody who's been here. Hit the like, subscribe, and we're out.
Life is a journey. Don't waste your trip.